Rogers TV.
Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is Out of the Fog. But not just out of the fog, it's out of the vault. We're going back, way back, to the summer of 2007. And what was going on back then? Well, here at Out of the Fog, we had a fresh-faced Paddy Daly hosting and organizing and coming with his charm long before he learned to so masterfully handle the calls and the disruption of an open line call-in show. And he was joined, of course, with Chrissy Holmes, who brought brightness and cheer to all of our guests here long before the St. John's Morning Show. So what was going on in their world that they wanted to talk about back in the summer of '07, and why are we reaching way back into the vault to bring it to you tonight? Well, as you probably know, because everybody's paying attention to it, the season 3 premiere of Son of a Critch, the St. John's own Mark Critch, kind of the story biopic of his life as he's growing up as a child, is in its 3rd season. So back in '07, almost everybody that was a cast member of 22 Minutes, which, I mean, still on the air after, oh my goodness, what is it, over 30 years now. 75 to 80% of the cast was from Newfoundland. And on this particular show we're going to throw back to, from all those years ago, we've got these younger versions of people like Cathy Jones, who spent 28 years as not just a cast member, but a icon and superstar of Canadian writing, acting, performing, television, and she's still heralded as just somebody to look up to and aspire to. And also one of very few cast members at the time that weren't from Newfoundland, Gavin Crawford, who was just sort of getting his feet under him at 22 Minutes and is now a host of a panel show, Because Talk, here on CBC Radio 1, and also, of course, Mr. Mark Critch. And you look at him, you're like, I can see how the kid on Son of a Critch grew up to be this guy. He looks like you can literally see his growth when you look at the character that plays him on the show, him playing his father on the show, and this version of him right in the middle. And it's such a fascinating way to look back at what their lives were like back then, when we talk about where their sense of comedy, their comedic timing, and all the things that were going on in the world at that time come from. So, what a time to celebrate. What a time to throw back and enjoy. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get right to it. Welcome back to Out of the Vault. Are you ready for a serious Tuesday night throwback? Here we go. We have Chrissy Holmes interviewing the one and only Mark Critch with Cathy Jones and Mr. Gavin Crawford. Please enjoy.
First ever St. John's Comedy Festival is kicking off today, and what better way than to get it started by headlining the event with the entire cast of the country's favorite sketch comedy show. This hour is 22 Minutes. is here today. Now, to date, the show has collected 24 Gemini Awards. It's in its 14th year of running. 6 of the 8 regular cast members have been Newfoundlanders, and for that reason, most Newfoundlanders celebrate it as their own, mostly because we really enjoy their confrontational and character-driven style of satire, but also because they often manage to score one for the home team here, but not without delivering a swift boot to the backside of our own self-perception at the same time. So joining me now is the cast of 22 Minutes. Welcome to the show, Miss Cathy Jones.
Thank you, Chrissy.
And Gavin Crawford.
Hi.
And Mark Critch.
Hello, Chrissy.
Hello, and wait a second, where's Sean?
Wow. Here's the thing. He went to LA, he was on 24, and he got a little Hollywood, and he's at the same place Lindsay Lohan is now, that
Gives him help.
promises.
He's getting the help he
he's getting the help he
needs.
needs. He's getting the help he needs right now, and
We hope so. Yeah.
yeah, tough
Or it
lessons.
could be at Leo's.
Or it could be at Leo's Fish and Chips, one or the other.
Yeah.
No,
Could be that
Sean's
simple.
had a bunch of family in town, and I believe he's actually on a tour boat that isn't in yet, and he missed it. But he wanted to be here. He's trying to be here.
He's on an iceberg somewhere, floating out to sea, waving.
So if you're whale watching and you see a little short beige friend of mine, please call.
Yeah, please
Call
call
1-800-SEAN.
Someone rescue him. Yeah, because
Well, I have to
we need
say,
him.
congratulations, you guys are pulling off an amazing 14th year. I mean, how do you continually top yourselves every single year? Comedy's hard to do.
Yeah, it's like a machine. It's like, bringing in these guys was a brilliant stroke. And, there's an incredible, huge team of people working on the show. We used to have many writers. Now we have tons of writers, and all these guys write. And then we have great, it's a funny and fun team. It's a well-oiled machine, at this point. And then all the fresh blood has made it kind of, still hot, still funny, right? And I'm still hot, even though I'm
You've always been
60,
hot.
65 years old now. So
You've been on 22 Minutes for
I've
70.
been on for 25
I've been
years.
on for 11 years, so.
Yeah, and you look
And
so
I just
good.
got there, so.
I'm hoping to get on soon.
Bringing on,
I think you will.
I think I will.
I've seen some of your stuff.
Yeah, well, Sean, luckily Sean's breaking out in the States a bit now, so that means I'll get more on his
He'll
screen
get to
time.
be on.
Yeah, that'll
yeah.
be
So I'll
good.
get to be on
Next
more.
year we hope Mark will be on a lot.
Thank you, Cathy. It's very kind of you.
So tell me, what are some of your personal favorite skits from the year?
Well, anything that it's like, anything that we do is funny. Sean's not here. He's funny. He's funny. He's funny. It's always funny.
You're
like
funny.
you guys, when you do that, you guys,
The radio. Which one?
What one do we do?
where you do the science thing, and he does a perfect Jay Ingram, and he does the
Oh,
perfect
right.
Natasha. Did you
I
see
like
that?
to do Natasha, but I can't do it anymore because she's moved to England, and so what are we going to do? I'll have
Well,
to
we'll
find
just get
another one.
reports from her.
Yeah, she can be a foreign correspondent.
Yeah. You
I
say
don't
what
know,
you
what else
like.
do I like? I don't know. I like everything. I just like, it's a really fun job. I mean, for me, it's like, I sort of grew up watching 22 Minutes, and then to actually like go and be like part of the cast and just get to, do characters, and to do characters with Cathy is like crazy, unbelievable for me sometimes. Like I always look over and I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this with you. You're way too funny. But somehow we managed through.
He's so funny, he could be from Newfoundland.
Yeah, he
this
could.
is-
He could actually.
Yeah.
This is the thing,
Thanks.
Gavin. I think most people that are watching right now are, they feel like they know Cathy, they feel like they know Mark because they're Newfoundlanders, but people are wondering about you. So, pull a cup of tea. Tell us about yourself.
What somebody said to me this morning was like, oh, you got to watch out for Newfoundlanders. They're all crazy. And then I thought, that's why I fit in perfectly well.
So, how was it that you got wrangled up on by 22 Minutes?
I don't really know. I mean, I've just started doing characters in clubs in Toronto of all places, and my partner's from Cape Breton. So when I first started, what I wanted to do was characters, and there's like out west, there's no history of that. People don't really do characters. So for me to go up into a stand-up club and like just start talking in a funny voice and doing like just being like I'm this guy was like.
So weird.
Really weird, and people were like, what's going on? But it sort of worked, and then I was really afraid to do it, but then Kyle was like, oh, where I'm from, people do that all the time. That's like, that's
And
the
Gavin
way
said,
we do
where
it.
are you from?
Yeah.
Can I go there someday? Perhaps on the back of a wagon?
I did, and then I
Did you?
came out to
With a
the
little
east.
straw hat he came with braids at the time, red braids.
Yeah, well, there
And
was
we
no.
plucked him off the wagon, didn't we?
There was no work
It's
for
a
me in
girl. We thought he
Alberta.
was a girl at first. We said, you could be on our show. He said, could I?
And it was great.
This character that
That's what I like to see. Being with these guys is just fun because you just get around people who just all of a sudden start talking in a different voice. Like we'll just be driving along and Cathy will be like, "How's it going, Gav?" And then you find yourself doing like 20 minutes of like weird Australian things.
He's the best, like, excellent accent guy. So he just, like, you just want to throw up your hands and give up, right? Like
So
when he
can
starts doing, like, you know, oh, the guy spent 6 months in Australia, but then he was in Sweden from the age 3 to 7, and Gavin's got the accent perfectly.
That's why I just lie though. That's why, because I just mix. If you mix an Australian with the sound starts to sound a little bit Swedish, you just say like, "Oh, he had a job in Sweden for a summer, so he picked up a little bit of a Swedish."
Can you do a
accent."
Newfoundland accent?
No.
That's what I was going to
That's
ask.
the one thing I just don't dare.
Come on. Yeah, you're afraid of it, but you could.
I don't even try because that's your territory.
He does Cape Breton a little bit because his boyfriend's from Cape Breton, but he doesn't. It's just like I can't do Cape
I
Breton
just don't
accents
go
at
there.
all. Can you do Cape Breton? It's a really weird thing.
Don't bother doing a Cape
What
Breton
would
accent
ya?
off Newfoundland. I already
Yeah,
did.
you don't need to.
It just doesn't come up. Living in
like-
Nova Scotia, it just doesn't come up.
No, it's like having like a really nice pie, and like a homemade pie, and then
Yeah.
going, "No, I'm going to go and get a President's Choice one." It's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm from Newfoundland. We don't need Cape Breton.
See, but now
Unless you're
I'm
from
here,
Cape Breton. I love it.
Yeah, it's
That's what I
best thing
got.
going.
See, this is why I came here because otherwise I'm getting it I get like 18 different Newfoundland accents from you, 21 different ones from you, and then now I can just go here and actually meet the actual people.
I got,
who have the accents, and then maybe by next year I'll figure out how to do it.
I've got them listening to the open line shows now.
That's a good start
So-
right there, yeah.
That's true.
That's the way to
Lots
go.
of different accents you'll hear.
That's the way to go.
I got on the show, by the way, through an essay writing contest in the Newfoundland Herald. And so I was, a lot of the entries were just people drawing pictures of trucks and stuff because I got mixed up with the coloring contest. And that's how I got on the show. So it's pretty cool, pretty wild.
It's so funny because I'm recalling like when we needed to replace. First, Rick was gone, and everybody knew. Everybody was like, "You should get Mark Critch, right?" And we were like, "You should get Mark Critch," and they got Colin Mockery, and then I was like, "You should get Gavin Crawford. You should get Gavin Crawford because he did the Gavin Crawford show, and he does these characters that are so incredible." And they like ignored it for another, but finally they came around and got the right people.
Well, I remember that time when Rick was leaving the shoe, they had auditions. I believe you auditioned, I auditioned, Sean auditioned, and
You're lying.
Seamus O'Regan auditioned, yeah, and they passed on everybody and got Colin. And Colin's very
yeah,
good.
because they thought that.
Oddly enough, Seamus did audition and he did it very close. And now he's doing Canada AM. So everybody's working though now. See, it all worked out. Everybody's working.
So there you go.
I know. I remember Toomey. I said, "Do you think we'll do the show next year?" Like in about year 4, and Toomey said, "We're actors from Newfoundland. Yes, we'll do the show next year. We have a job, you fool. We're gonna keep it."
Now, Cathy, you've been on the show since day one, of course. I mean, we've just sort of been talking about the evolution of people that have gone through it. I mean, just in terms of how the show has changed over the last 14 years. I mean, has it moved away from more of a Newfoundland sort of focus to a Newfoundland Canadian focus?
The focus has changed a lot, and yet it is still a funny show. But yes, the focus has changed, and a lot. And we used to write way more personal stuff, way more, character sort of stuff that came from. I think it really came from a different place before, and it still does to a certain extent, but it's more of a, it clicks along like real good comedy does. But it used to be you could, and I'm kind of embarrassed to bring up the kind of stuff that we used to do in the beginning, where I could just go in and I don't know, they haven't lost anything. The boys have come in with what they have, and they just wholeheartedly put it out. But there's something changed, and I don't have Mary, and Mary's like incredibly strong, and Mary will say, "We're doing this kind of sketch," and then for me it's like, "Don't want to do that kind of sketch? Okay," I'll be in my room whenever. I just like I just want a job,
The art. The art, the fine art.
Call me kooky, but it's I always feel like my neck's breaking down. How many more seasons should I stay? And I always go one more, because it's fun. Because you say, "What are you doing, Mark?" And Mark says, "Well, I got the boss up here, right? And then he goes on, and then Jumper comes in and rips the sink off the wall and gets underneath it to fix it. It's pretty funny goings on. I mean, things have changed on the show, but it's like there's a lot. Like the fun thing about comedy is, you know, I think it's really good for you. Like laughing, like thinking of coming here today, thinking of coming to Newfoundland and meeting all these guys today for the comedy festival. Yes.
Yeah.
Couple of laughs.
Well, I mean, you guys are known for, you know, a lot of things. I suppose the diverse characters being one of the main ones. Mark, I'd like to know, how does Rex Murphy or Danny Williams react to your impersonation of them? You ever been called on it?
Rex is interesting because I run into Rex from time to time, right? Different CBC things. And first time I ran into him, it was something at CBC, and I was like, "Oh, Mr. Murphy," and he knew my dad. Yeah, well, I wasn't dressed as Rex, but I was just up there in the hallway, and he knew my dad because Rex used to work at VOCM. My dad, Mike Critch from VOCM New Service, also worked there, and he had been over to the house and stuff, and when I was a little kid, and so I went up and said, "Yeah, Mr. Murphy, by the way, Mark Critch from Newfoundland, know my father." Oh yes, how are your father? Good. Listen, by the way, about the impression I do, you know, it's more of a tribute really and everything as well. Like, you know, like not really trying to make fun of you. I mean, I really had to watch you and get to know you a lot before I could do that. And he's, yeah. Very good. And he leaves, and I was like, oh no. But he can be a little socially awkward anyway. Then I saw him at the Craig Dobbin thing, and we had a similar conversation. And then the last time I ran into him, it was really weird. It was at the airport waiting to pick somebody up, and I'm sitting there, and I was tired, you know, I was waiting because the flight was delayed, and I'm looking, and I look down and go, oh my God, I've been sitting next to Rex Murphy the whole time. I had walked in and I picked the seat next to him. I was sitting next to Rex, right? And I look over and I can tell he knows it's me, but I've been sitting there and he's thinking, why doesn't he say hello? He sat next to me, he's not saying hello. And I'm like, oh God, I can't say hello now. I suppose when I get up. And then doors open and we both stand up at the exact same time and walk over to the two people we're picking up who are next to each other. And then we go back and but it's one of those things where it's gone too long and you can't say hello. And we get the carts, and then I'm getting my cart and I'm coming along here. We go here, we're going out the door at the same time. And I go, Rex, he goes, Mark. And we just went on. It was very awkward. So it's kind of like whenever I see Rex, I kind of feel like, you know, like when you see somebody that you broke up with for the first time. Like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? All right, cool.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
You both pretend the other doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Until you're face to face.
And Danny doesn't mind. Danny's been on our show before, and like I called him up with the one we did where Newfoundland had the nuclear bomb, and and I called up his office and said like, hey, can we get the Premier to do this? Which was the thought because he had done something silly on our show before, and they were very nice. They considered it, and they came back and said, the Premier doesn't feel comfortable saying he has a nuclear bomb on national television. And I was like, all right, I understand, bit wussy, but understand. But he's very good about it, so.
So I heard you were talking to him just last night, hey?
Yes, yeah, we were talking about the little surprise that may happen at the gala show that we're doing at the Arts and Culture Centre. And and he was very good. He'd just been on Canada AM. Interesting thing about Danny is it was all foggy and stuff there. And the windows there in the rooms, looking out, it's all fog. And just as he's finishing up his very important speech, talking to Bev, the light breaks behind him. And she's like, oh, wow, you've made the fog break. And it's like, you got a horseshoe up this rear passage or what? I mean, my God, on national TV, and you make the fog break. You know, it's like, yeah, lucky. Moses Williams.
Wow.
So.
Well, Mr. Dressup's coming in with me, so.
Mr. Dressup's going to be here, and
back
Coons?
from the dead, and
that's creepy.
He's coming on the show. No.
We got Casey.
Oh, nice. Since I got here, I've been called Howdy Doody.
No.
Casey. We got
that guy today when he's like, oh, I gotta get your picture, Howdy Doody. What's this? He kept calling me Howdy Doody all
morning. Yeah, I kept saying it too, on purpose too. You know, some guy came up and said, "Hey, Howdy Doody."
That was my first favorite, and then my second favorite was the woman that said like, "Oh, when I first seen you, I thought, oh, he's so ugly."
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and then she's like, then you took all that makeup off and the zits and stuff, and I thought, oh, gorgeous.
No.
And then I was like, whew.
Mom was just excited to meet you.
Yeah, that was my mom.
Look, Gavin, I guess you're talking about Mark Jackson, the teenage political reporter, right?
Yeah.
So you actually carried that character over from the Gavin Crawford show. Is that correct?
We started that. That was kind of a weird character, how it came about, because we just found this ugly wig. Like, that was when we were looking for characters, and I put it on, and it had these kind of bad straight bangs, and then so I just sort of started kind of talking and like that and being awkward. So we did one sketch where it was just him kind of talking about running for president of his class because his mom thought it would be a good way for him to get girls because he didn't have the look, so he should probably go for the power. And it was just kind of like, and there wasn't really much to it, like on paper. It didn't really have any jokes even. And then we did it and filmed it, and it just seemed like really funny. Once you saw him like in action, he's kind of a weird character because he actually doesn't really have to say anything funny particular, which is great for me. And but just the way he kind of moves and is so like kind of uncomfortable and painful. And it's great with politicians too, because they get sort of protective. I remember the first time I had to go interview Stephen Harper before he was prime minister. He kind of like put his arm around me, and like he sort of seemed to like buy into the fact that it was like an awkward kid, and he was kind of helping me through. Like, I'm asking him jerky questions, like, where do you get your hair cut? Because I think we go to the same barber and things like that. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you. And he just like kind of like.
That's because it's like a Freedom 55 moment for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you're me in the future.
It'll work out. One day we'll control the whole country, and we will kill everyone who picked on us.
I'm curious to know, I mean, what do your story writing meetings look like? I mean, is it, it's got to be madness.
A lot of lies.
Yeah,
But
people
did you go
pretending
in?
they're going to do things. They're going to go, yeah, I got one about a, what?
Yeah, because you got the newspaper in front of you. Basically, it's kind
And
of
you
like
just read it, you go.
It's kind of like a gunfight or something. You're waiting for somebody to go, so you can see a headline, you know, like
Yeah.
Stephen Harper says he's a poopy pants, and then whatever. It's like, oh, that'll be really funny. Oh, that'll be really funny, and then you're hoping to get to it, or you might not have an idea for what you say. I'm writing something about this,
Yeah.
and everybody else looks around and goes, oh, he picked that one. So it's kind of like you pick news stories the same way you pick people for a dodgeball team, basically.
Yeah.
You get, with the big kid first and the little kid last, so. And then hopefully you can make something up. But we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, somebody ends up with a story about like, ooh, shoes are changing.
Yeah, I just go to the cartoons page.
Yes, I had that.
Yeah, my last three stories.
My shoes are
baseball
changing.
handicap cartoons.
Shoes are changing now. They're going to be worn like with the toes at the back. Yeah.
I'm just goofing around.
I don't mean that. This could be a perfect babe. The shoes are backwards.
I remember that last year you guys did this one skit called Another Crazy Newfoundland Show.
Oh yeah.
And obviously you were satirizing all those, all that sort of
Gulliges
string of
Julie
Newfoundland
Gardens
shows that
and
was coming out of
Hatching.
CBC at the time. I mean, do you find you guys have to be sort of careful about where you go with the Newfoundland stereotype? Or
We don't do a lot of Newfoundland. I think that was kind of that sketch was kind of doing Newfoundland stereotypes, but making fun of people who may be doing the Newfoundland stereotype. Because every show that came out here, they're all great shows and everything, but when you start thinking about it, all of them, it's like, oh my God, they're all pretty dark, you know what I mean? There's only really dark stuff. So they all work together. But yeah, we don't do a lot of the Newfoundland sketches anymore,
We don't.
I guess.
And that's kind of, it's funny. It's like, are we denying Newfoundland? Like,
But that's a good question. Should we do more? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I
think
could do,
you-
but you guys, I think you
fun.
should do
We
more.
we tried to do a thing called Newfoundland Notebook one time. We had two characters
we
on.
did the, character where I was having the baby, remember? You were the husband. That was fun.
Well, it's always very easy. It just feels really natural doing that because you just
it
all
made
your
us
life
too
you've been
easy.
doing it. I don't know. I like it. I want to do
I
more
like
of
it
it. Well,
too.
that's what we do too. Like when we're all day long in the
We're just
trailer,
fooling
when we're
around.
fooling around. All we do is talk in these silly voices and just
He
make up
says,
these ridiculous.
I say, how you doing? He goes, not very good, Kath. Puss is after passing away. Puss is 27, right? I got him in third year, grade 9, and like he just goes on and on and on. I just like, and he's got this character who basically lives his life around the bus routes and having a bus pass, and he can't go out with anybody unless their house is on the bus route. Oh, he's cute.
Yeah, I met a really nice girl the other day, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
fell in love with her. I mean,
Yeah.
Tammy's her name, right? But I mean, like for me to go to her place, it's a Route 12, got transferred to 9, then I got to get to
Too
7.
many transfers.
Can't be edified.
Can't be at it, no.
No.
We are so quickly running out of time. I just wanted to ask you guys, even before we go, I mean, so you're getting ready to all perform at the Comedy Festival the weekend.
Yes.
What kind of characters can people expect to see when they go to see the show?
Oh boy, I'm just going to do some stand-up tonight and just try to not freak out about that. And I think the boys are doing some characters, just stand-up.
I'll probably do a character thing at the Arts and Culture show. I'm going to try and
Yeah.
shake it up, do some different stuff, different
Yeah.
times. Gavin's going to
Yeah, I'm
be
doing characters.
Gavin's doing all of his face. So you'll see Mark Jackson, right?
Yeah, Mark Jackson's will be there, and a couple
I've
other
got
ones. It's fun
costumes
because
just in case.
I've had to do some of the characters have to alter when we do them on like the show on 22. They have to be sort of TVI, so it's nice for me to get out in front of a live crowd and just do the characters the way they exist in kind of the clubs and stuff. Which because I love doing that, like with actually like a crowd there, and you're just talking to the crowd and being that person. It's really fun.
So do you find it's more of an interactive thing? Do you like sort of interacting with the crowd?
Yeah, I love it. Like I love every time we tape sketches live in front of the audience. Like anytime that there's people there, I get really nervous. I get much more nervous when there's people there, but when you're actually out there and doing it, it's much more fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys so much. Wish you the best of luck, and have an awesome weekend, Gavin. Your
Thank
first
you.
time in Newfoundland.
It's going to be fantastic.
We'll take care of him.
And I'm afraid.
So as always, we want to hear what you think about anything that you've seen on the show, or if you want to write a message to the characters 22 minutes, give us a call. Here's how.
Welcome back. It's so interesting to me to sit back and watch this for a couple of reasons. I mean, I get to see somebody who, like the way that I present on Out of the Fog is built on having been watching it for such a long time and seeing people like Chrissy as professionals now in media years later and how they present and having met them and seeing how that goes. And she's so conversational, and it's something that I relate to and I really appreciate. And also seeing the evolution of people who we've been watching as icons on television for such a long time, and see that they have maintained their comedic timing, and they maintained what I'll call like the pillars and the principles of their own personas as characters and as personalities, but to see the evolution of them as they age and learn and get better and hone their crafts. But also, I'm pretty sure that Cathy Jones has not aged since the day that is filmed. And she made a joke in there that she was 65 years old. She's currently today a little bit older than 65, and she looks the same. So I don't know if people will think that maybe we didn't take this at Evolve and we kind of just like made it up or whatever. And all of the talk about Sean Majumner, of course, who is another new.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Email us at comments@rogerstv.com or visit our website.
Come on in, take a seat. Or better yet,
look at this crowd on its feet.
for aggressive D and knockdown threes, athleticism and speed.